Welcome to my series of lectures on research method. The focus today is qualitative data, validity and reliability. After this lecture, you should be able to, 1, explain the concepts of validity and reliability in qualitative research, differentiate between internal and external validity, differentiate between internal and external reliability, and also explain how to ensure validity and reliability in the context of a qualitative study. So let's talk about validity and reliability in qualitative research. Qualitative research is often criticized, and people say that it is not valid, it is not reliable. And as researchers who go into qualitative research, we have to make sure that we don't give people more reasons to say that our study is not valid and not reliable and give qualitative research a bad name. It is possible to make qualitative research valid and reliable, but we need to understand the concepts of validity and reliability in qualitative research and to take the necessary steps to make sure that we have a valid study and a reliable study. All research is concerned with producing valid and reliable knowledge, whether it is quantitative data or qualitative data. So validity, the fundamental concept of validity as in accuracy is applicable. We certify that a certain photocopied document is a true copy. It is a valid copy, and by certifying it, I validate it. This concept of accuracy, it is still there. And we are still talking about validity of the whole study and validity of the instrument. That they both must study what we claim to study. So now, what is the difference then? Well, in qualitative research, Lincoln and Guba, 1985, say that the correct term for validity is credibility, that is trustworthiness. Can we trust the results? Do they describe the participant's perspective? So what is the difference? Well, accurate. Are we accurate in describing the participant's perspective? That is how I would see the concept of validity or accuracy applied in the qualitative context. If we are accurate in describing the participant's perspective, that means our results are valid or credible and can be trusted. People read what we write and say, yes, this truly describes what this group of people feel or experience. For example, the homeless. In the same way, as in quantitative research, in qualitative research, we also look at validity in terms of internal and external validity. So when we are talking about internal validity, here we are talking about the confidence that the results match the participants' reality or meaning. Okay, it can match because our job as a researcher is to understand their reality of things, and then we will describe it for other people to know. So validity in qualitative research means that the description of the participants' reality is accurate. This is internal validity within our study. And when we do that, we are able to accurately describe the reality of other people similar to the participants. This is what we mean by external validity. So when we take care of the internal validity, when other people read it, they will say, oh yeah, I also know this group of homeless people. They also go through similar experiences as what is described in the paper. So that means there is that external validity. And the concept is accuracy. Accurate in describing participants' reality or meanings. So this is within our study. So the external validity means the results can be generalized to other groups. Although I must say in qualitative research, people are very wary of using the word generalized to other groups. Actually, it is for other people reading our research reports to make that generalization or application in their mind. They read it, they say, I know this group. Yes, it is similar to the group you have studied. So we don't claim this external validity, but other people who read our results can affirm that. How do you ensure internal validity? The green color box refers to internal validity. How do you ensure that results match the participants' reality or meaning? There are three things you can do. Number one, triangulation. That is, you collect different kinds of data. Interview, you may observe them, you may collect documents or photos, depending on your study. So when you have different types of data, they help us to understand the participants' reality better. Number two, member checks. You can take the results back to the participants and ask them, is my write-up here accurate in describing how you experience this? This is called member check. I have tried to do that for my PhD. And number three, long-term observation. You stay with them, you know, like in the ethnographic study, you stay with them long enough, you can understand how the participants experience reality and what things mean to them. So there are ways to ensure internal validity in a qualitative research: triangulation, member checks, and long-term observation. If you can't do number two or number three, at least you can do number one, triangulation of data. Next, we talk about external validity. What do? We have studied the participants' reality well, but how do we convey it to other people? We have understood our participants, but how do we make other people understand what our participants experience? Well, there are also three ways here. Number one, provide rich, thick description, details, lots of details with the quotations, but it doesn't mean dumping the raw data on the readers. It means we must have analyzed it and we pick the excerpts accordingly to illustrate the points that we have understood about their reality. Rich, thick description. Number two, show what a typical case is in other variations too, so that other researchers can compare with their own situations. This is about external validity. It's for them to look at our results and say, is this applicable to my group of participants? So, typical case, what is the usual case? This one we have no problem doing because a lot of us have this quantitative mindset. The majority, we can describe typical case. But if we are doing qualitative research, we cannot ignore the deviant cases, the cases that are different, you know, the exceptions. Sorry, they've got to be described too, because we are interested in the participants' realities. Even though this is something only one participant out of 30 experienced, that one participant's experience is vivid enough to the person and is that person's reality, so it's got to be described. But we have to announce that this is one person out of 30 who have this perspective. And that's when I say it is okay to talk about numbers in qualitative research, but we are just talking about the prevalence of it. How frequent is this kind of reality? So in this case, maybe 1 out of 30, it is a deviant case, but got to be reported to with its interview excerpts and so on. And for typical cases, we will announce this is applicable to 25 out of 30 of the participants. So people know that this is the common experience or way of looking at something. And number three, conduct studies of multiple cases in different sites. Don't just study one person. So you can do a case in one place, you can do it in a few places. So this is a bit like having a bigger sample size. So when you have a bigger sample size, you've got more variety of people, more variety of experiences. When we have more variety of experiences studied, we have a better understanding of the participants' reality rather than this small group that we have studied. So yes, we do need to continue interviewing or continue analyzing the text until we see data saturation, no more new findings, no more new things we are hearing from the participants or the text. So there are ways to ensure external validity. And remember, external validity means other researchers read our results and affirm that yes, it is applicable to their group or situation. So to achieve that, we must provide rich, thick description, talk about typical and deviant cases, and if possible, conduct studies of multiple cases in different sites. If not, then just state it as a limitation. to this kind of particular conditions and setting. With that, I move on to reliability. Reliability still carries the concept of consistency, just like in quantitative research. So in qualitative research, it also means that the instrument need to be consistent in measuring what it is supposed to measure or analyzing what it is supposed to analyze. So the concept used here is still consistency, but the term that Lincoln and Guba 1985 used is dependability. Is it reliable? Are you a dependable person? Are you a reliable person? It's a different term being used, but the concept of consistency is still there. Internal reliability, you can replicate the procedures and results. External reliability, other researchers can analyze the data and get the same results because they repeat the study in the same way as you have done. How to make sure that you have internal reliability in qualitative research. You do one interview, you do a second one, you do a third one, you analyze one interview, you analyze the second and third. If you don't take these steps, you may not analyze them in the same way or collect data in the same way. So it is important, number one, the instruments to collect the data. You must prepare an interview or observation guide that has the questions and the prompts so that you ask the questions in the same way to every participant and look at the same things to record if you are doing observations. And ask with the same kind of enthusiasm or neutrality because this also affects how the participants respond. Instruments to analyze data, just now was to collect the data, now it's coming back and analyzing the data. Or for those people who only do text analysis, you also have a step of collecting data, for, let's say from the newspapers. You have to have a system so that you are not biased in collecting the newspaper articles. You don't just collect those that are easy to analyze. You collect using a certain system. It is important. Then when it comes to analysis, you have a framework of analysis so that you will analyze all the interviews or all the text in the same way. This is very important for replicability of the procedures and results, and to ensure there is internal reliability within our own study. Only then we can talk about external reliability. And you can see here the focus is on instruments, but it's applicable at two stages: data collection, data analysis. External reliability, how do you get other researchers to analyze the data and get the same results as us, similar results? Number one, it goes back to the detailed audit trail. Keep a good record of all your processes and decisions. Very important because of the subjectivity of the human that is involved here. Record your decisions, what you did and what you did not do, why you did certain things in certain way. An audit trail, very important. Keep a good record. And report major decisions in the write-up. Not just keep your record for yourself. You have to report it so that other researchers will know what are the steps and the thinking process we went through. Report it so that other researchers will choose participants, collect and analyze data in the same way. That transparency is very important for external reliability, because what happens in our head, what happens in our study, other people do not know. They only know it from our write-up. So the first part about audit trail is for ourselves to remember. Then the second part about reporting major decisions and processes is for others to know. And that's when there is external reliability. So to conclude, every researcher wants to contribute to knowledge that is believable and trustworthy and transferable to other contexts. So there are different ways to achieve reliability and validity in qualitative research. And you might want to do a summary based on the lecture just now. So hopefully with this concept, you will know that validity and reliability needs to be seen slightly differently in qualitative research. So do revise what is here, because it needs a certain twist of mindset away from the quantitative way of looking at validity and reliability. Thank you.